All right, hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive. Today we're heading east. Gonna explore a crypto project with roots in Japan.
Oh, interesting.
It's called JasmyCoin, and Japan kind of has a reputation for being on the cutting edge of tech, right?
Yeah, for sure. Always pushing the boundaries.
Well, this one is interesting. JasmyCoin, or JSMY, it's not just about digital money,
Yep.
It's trying to tackle this whole issue of data privacy, especially with all these smart devices popping up everywhere.
Right, the whole Internet of Things explosion, everyone's talking about it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like every day there's a new gadget that's collecting data about us. I mean, think about it. Your phone, your watch, even your fridge can be connected these days.
It's kind of wild when you stop and think about it, all that data out there.
And right now, let's be honest, it feels like it's mostly the big companies who are benefiting from all that data, right? They're using it to, target ads, personalize experiences, all that stuff.
And sometimes it feels like we're giving up a lot of privacy for the sake of convenience, isn't it?
Exactly. So that's where JasmyCoin comes in. They're trying to turn the tables a bit.
Oh, how so? I'm intrigued.
Well, their whole thing is about data democracy, which is a pretty catchy phrase, right?
Yeah, I like that. Data democracy, it sounds like empowering.
It is. The idea is instead of companies controlling all our data from these smart devices, Jasmy wants to give individuals more control.
Oh, so you get to decide what data you share and who you share it with, that kind of thing.
Exactly. You're in the driver's seat. And get this, they even talk about how you could potentially get compensated if you choose to share your data.
Interesting. So it becomes more of a fair exchange then?
Yeah, it's like right now we're kind of giving away our data for free and they're making money off of it.
Right, without really having much say in the matter.
Right. So Jasmy's trying to shake things up, give some power back to the people.
I'm definitely seeing why you picked this one for a deep dive. It's a hot topic.
Oh yeah, and we've got a whole stack of sources here. Articles, overviews from the company, even some price predictions that have caught the eye of some crypto analysts.
Oh, price predictions. Those are always fun. Got to see what the crystal ball says, right?
Yeah, we'll get to those later, see if JasmyCoin is going to moon or not. But first, let's really understand what they're all about, beyond the hype.
Yeah, break it down for us. What's the tech? What's the vision?
All right, so at its core, Jasmy is combining two big things, blockchain and the Internet of Things.
Okay, two of the buzziest tech terms out there. Put them together. What happens?
Well, the idea is to create this platform where all that data from our devices can be securely stored and managed.
So instead of your data being scattered all over the place, different companies, different servers, it's all in one secure spot.
Yeah, think of it like your own personal data vault on the blockchain.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So blockchain is providing that secure foundation, that tamper-proof record keeping.
Exactly. That's kind of its superpower, right? Immutable, transparent, all that good stuff. And because it's decentralized, no single company or government controls it.
Right. I'm starting to see how that ties into this data democracy idea.
Now, our sources mention some pretty interesting technical bits and pieces within this platform. They talk about something called personal data lockers. I mean, it sounds a little futuristic, right?
It does. Like something out of a sci-fi movie, you've got your own digital locker.
Exactly. But it's the core concept here. This personal data locker, or PDL, that's where you decide what information goes in.
So think medical records, browsing history, maybe even data from your smart home devices.
All of that. You control it, not some corporation.
I'm liking this already. Definitely see the appeal. But how do you actually access and use this data?
Well, that's where this secure knowledge communicator comes in, the SKC. It's like your digital key.
Ooh. Okay, your key to the data vault.
Right. It verifies your identity and lets you give permission for specific data to be shared.
So if, say, a bank needs your financial info for a loan application, you just grant them access to that specific data instead of sending over mountains of paperwork.
Exactly. Seamless and secure.
Very cool. But what about security? How does Jasmy make sure all this data stays safe?
Good question. They've got something called the Smart Guardian, or SG. It's kind of like a security system for your PDL.
Okay, so it's like a watchdog keeping an eye on everything?
Yep, managing all the devices linked to your PDL, making sure only the right info gets in or out.
So it's like triple layered security with blockchain, the SKC, and the Smart Guardian.
Right, they're not messing around. Now, here's where it gets a bit more technical, and our sources dig into this. Jasmy also uses something called IPFS, the Interplanetary File System.
Whoa, okay, now that sounds straight out of Star Trek.
I know, right? But it's a real thing, a way to store and share files in a decentralized way, kind of like the next generation of the internet.
So instead of everything relying on these big central servers, it's more distributed, harder to censor, or control.
Exactly. It's like the internet, but on steroids. And then on top of that, they're using edge computing.
Okay, so what's the edge in all of this?
Well, edge computing basically brings the data processing closer to the source. So instead of sending all your data to some giant data center,
It happens right on your device or at a local server, making things faster and more efficient.
you got it. And probably more secure too, right? Because if your data isn't constantly traveling back and forth to some central hub,
There's less opportunity for it to be intercepted, makes sense.
right? So it's like all these pieces fit together. Blockchain, IPFS, edge computing, they're building this decentralized system where users have more control over their data.
Sound ambitious, but super interesting. I'm starting to get the big picture now.
It is ambitious. It's a whole new way of thinking about data and how we interact with technology.
Yeah, it's not just about the tech itself, it's about the implications, right?
Exactly. Okay, so all this tech stuff is cool, but I gotta ask, what does data democracy actually look like in my, everyday life, Help me connect the dots here.
Sure. Let's say you've got a car, a pretty new one.
Okay. Yeah.
Most new cars these days are basically computers on wheels, right?
Yeah.
Collecting tons of data
Yeah.
about your driving habits, where you go, even how hard you brake, all that.
And right now, who knows where all that's going? Probably the manufacturer.
Right, your insurance company?
Yeah, maybe data brokers. Who knows? They're probably using it to, target me with ads or something.
Oh, yeah, or to, calculate your insurance premiums, all that.
Right. And, I get it. It's not all bad, but it does feel a little, unsettling.
Yeah, for sure. You don't really have much control over it right now, do you?
Nope. So with Jasmy, how would that change things?
Well, you could actually have a say in how that data gets used. Imagine you want lower insurance rates.
Who doesn't?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you agree to share some driving data with your insurer in exchange for a discount.
Oh, so I'm getting something back in return instead of them just taking it and running with it.
Exactly. Or let's say you're using a navigation app, you could give it access to your, real-time location.
So I'd get super accurate traffic updates, right? Personalized route suggestions.
Exactly. So it becomes more of a win-win. Instead of feeling like your data is being taken, you're actively choosing how it's used.
And maybe even making some money off it, which is pretty cool. Okay, so beyond driving, where else could this apply?
Well, think about medical records.
Oh, don't even get me started.
Right. It's a nightmare trying to, get them transferred between doctors.
Yeah, it's like the Stone Age, faxing forms from 1985 or something.
Exactly. So much paperwork. But imagine you've got your entire medical history in your personal data locker.
And then, I could just give access to a new doctor with a few clicks.
Exactly. Secure, efficient, and again, you're in control.
Okay, that would be life-changing. No more dealing with, release forms and waiting weeks for records to transfer.
And what about smart homes? Everyone's getting these connected devices, but it's kind of a trade-off, right?
Yeah, convenience for privacy, it's a tough one.
Jasmy could actually make smart homes more secure, though.
Really? How so?
Well, right now, a lot of these devices rely on a company's, central server.
Right.
Which could be vulnerable to hackers. But with Jasmy, your data could be stored on the blockchain, much more difficult to hack.
Oh, interesting. So instead of my smart fridge data just being out there on some company's server, it's spread across the network.
Exactly. Harder to target. And you could control which devices can talk to each other.
So I could choose what data they share, kind of create my own little ecosystem within my house.
Precisely. And, this is just the tip of the iceberg. As more and more devices get connected, the possibilities keep expanding.
Yeah, the Internet of Things, it's not just about cool gadgets anymore. It's about who controls all the data.
And that's really what Jasmy is trying to address, right? This idea that individuals should have more say in their data's destiny.
Yeah, it's a pretty bold vision.
It is. Now, I'm sure not everyone's going to jump on the Jasmy bandwagon, right? Some folks are going to be skeptical, maybe think it's all hype.
Right. And blockchain and crypto are still kind of new for a lot of people.
Absolutely. And there are valid questions about whether Jasmy can actually pull all of this off.
Yeah.
Can they achieve the scale needed?
Right. Will people actually use it?
Yeah, those are the big questions.
It's kind of remember the early days of the internet? Lots of hype. Some people thought it was a fad, but then...
boom. It changed the world.
Exactly. It takes time for things to evolve to see what really sticks.
Right. We're still in the early innings here. But the potential's huge. Even if Jasmy itself doesn't become, the dominant player.
They're definitely pushing the conversation forward.
Making us think about data ownership in a new way, that's for sure.
Okay, so let's shift gears a bit, talk about the investment side of things.
All right, yeah, let's look at the numbers.
Our sources have some pretty interesting predictions about where JasmyCoin could be headed.
Yeah, one article I saw predicts it could hit $0.50 by 2025.
Wow.
And then climb even higher to like 0.323 by 2030. Pretty optimistic.
Those are some pretty big gains, gotta say. But, you know, I'm always a little wary of those price predictions. They're kind of like...
Yeah, like reading tea leaves.
Exactly. You never know what's going to happen in crypto. It's so volatile.
Oh, for sure. And, you know, not all of our sources are as bullish. One of them points out some, you know, potential red flags.
Oh, like what?
Things like network growth has been declining a bit. There's been a drop in large transactions. They even mentioned this like risky pattern forming on the price charts.
Oh, so they're saying proceed with caution.
Exactly. Don't just jump in blindly.
So we've got optimism on one hand, caution on the other, which kind of sums up the crypto world in general, right?
Yeah. You got to be prepared for a wild ride.
So what are the key things that could determine which way Jasmy goes from here?
Well, adoption is huge. If their platform really takes off, if we start seeing a lot of people using it, companies using it.
That'll drive demand for the coin.
Exactly. Supply and demand. It's economics 101. And partnerships are key too. They've already got some big names on board like Panasonic, VAIO. Those are some heavy hitters.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good sign.
More partnerships like that could really boost their credibility, make people take them seriously.
Right, and then there's the whole regulatory landscape, which is always a bit of a wild card with crypto.
Oh yeah, governments are still figuring out how to deal with this whole space.
It could be a tailwind or a headwind, depending on how things shake out.
Exactly. So yeah, lots of moving parts, lots of uncertainty.
It's tough to predict the future, right?
Yeah, impossible, really. They have potential, but also risks.
It's a gamble, like most things in crypto.
Right. So anyone thinking about investing, do your research, understand the tech, understand the risks.
Solid advice. Don't just FOMO in, you know?
Right. Got to be smart about it. Now, even if you're not looking to buy JasmyCoin,
yeah,
I think their whole mission raises some important questions.
Yeah, about data democracy. Is it really possible? Or is it just a nice idea that won't actually work in the real world?
It's a good question. I mean, we're generating so much data these days. And the way things are now, with big companies controlling most of it, it just feels...
unsustainable.
Yeah, I think so. We need new models, new ways of thinking about data ownership.
It's not just about privacy, it's about control, right? Imagine if you could actually use your data to your advantage, maybe even earn from it.
Right. It's about shifting the balance of power a bit, giving individuals more agency.
Yeah, it's a powerful idea. Whether Jasmy is the one to make it happen, who knows? But they're definitely pushing the conversation in the right direction.
Absolutely. It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out, what other solutions come up.
Because the future of data, it's something we should all be thinking about.
Definitely. It's not just a tech issue, it affects everyone.
So we talk a lot about Jasmy and, individuals, but where does this all fit in the bigger picture? The whole crypto world, right?
Yeah, that's a good point to bring up. A lot of people, when they hear crypto, they just think Bitcoin. Right?
Yeah, it's kind of like the OG.
It is. It's the one that started it all. And for good reason, it's been a, incredible store of value.
Digital gold.
Exactly. But Jasmy's doing something different. They're not just trying to create another Bitcoin, are they?
Right. It's not just about the money. It's about building a platform with a specific purpose.
Yeah, enabling this whole data democracy thing we've been talking about.
So where does that put them in the crypto landscape?
Well, they're more in the realm of what are called utility tokens.
Utility tokens, okay.
Yeah, these are cryptocurrencies that are designed to have a specific use within a particular ecosystem.
So how JSMY is used to, buy and sell data on the Jasmy platform.
Exactly. Or to pay for services within that ecosystem.
Okay, so it's not just about trading it on an exchange and hoping it goes up in value.
Right. It has a real world use case. That's the key.
Interesting. Are there other examples of this?
Tons. Some cryptocurrencies are being used to streamline supply chains. Others are powering these decentralized finance platforms.
Decentralized finance, DeFi, that's another whole rabbit hole.
Oh yeah, it's huge. And some are even being used in gaming, to create new types of in-game economies. It's pretty wild.
Wow, so it's really going way beyond just the financial stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what makes this space so exciting. There's so much innovation happening, so much potential to change things.
And that's where Jasmy could really make a mark, right?
Yeah, if they succeed, It can have ripple effects across all sorts of industries.
Yeah.
Just imagine a healthcare system where patients have more control over their medical records.
They could easily share them with doctors or researchers without all the bureaucracy.
Exactly. Or think about supply chains, Blockchain can be used to track products from origin to consumer.
Ensuring like authenticity, ethical sourcing, all that.
Right, and that's just scratching the surface. The possibilities were pretty mind-blowing.
So even if someone listening isn't convinced about JasmyCoin as an investment, it's still worth paying attention to what they're doing.
Absolutely. They're part of a much bigger conversation about the future of data and technology.
And that's a conversation everyone should be a part of, right? It's not just for techies.
No, it affects all of us. The choices we make today about data privacy, data ownership, is going to have a huge impact on the world we live in tomorrow.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. We explored the tech, the vision, the potential benefits and risks.
We looked at those price predictions, tried to make sense of it all.
But ultimately, it's up to each individual to do their own research, come to their own conclusions.
Exactly. We're not giving financial advice here, just trying to provide some food for thought.
And hopefully spark some curiosity, right?
Yeah, we want people to go out there, learn more, and maybe even get involved in shaping this future.
Exactly. And if you want to dig deeper, check out the show notes. We've got links to all the sources we use.
And as always, hit us up on social media. Let us know what you think. Let's keep the conversation going.
Yeah, we love hearing from you guys. So until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep questioning the world around you.
Great advice. See you next time.